This is how you get a ton of samples in the shortest amount of time. First, head to a defense planet, the ones where it says defend on top. Second, there's usually an evacuation mission in each mission set. You need to head straight for the evac mission because this mission only lasts 15 minutes. We'll be using this time to collect as many samples as possible. Thirdly, you need to choose a difficulty depending on the type of samples you need and depending on which you can do. The higher the difficulty, the more and rarer samples you'll be able to find. Be careful though. There is a rare version of this mission that drops you into a smaller map than usual. It barely has any samples. Avoid those missions at all costs. They're a waste of time. Now, choose a dropping spot away from the center and make sure to bring smoke airstrikes and a shield generator. If you're not a high level enough to get the shield generator, get anything you want as long as it helps you keep moving. Anything that helps with mobility is a good thing here. Once you drop down, start running. This mission is programmed to keep dropping enemies near your location and not near the objective. You can use this fact to your advantage by bringing friends and splitting up to maximize sample collection, but only one will be tracked by the enemies while the rest will kind of roam free. So get your gear and start looking for points of interest. That's where all the samples are. And if you're done clearing a POI, move in the direction of where you expect the next one to be. And at this point, you're most likely being tracked by a horde of enemies, and this is where your smokes come in handy. Just drop your airstrikes or your smokes on your location. This will allow you, or at least buy you time to start running. They will keep shooting at the smoke and running towards the smoke, but because they are tracking your last known location, you can use this to your advantage by breaking their line of sight with the smoke and going to a different direction, essentially saving you the trouble of dealing with them and wasting precious time. Because if you stay in a single spot, you are gonna die. They're gonna keep dropping enemies and you're not gonna keep up unless you have an entire team just geared up the teeth and just killing everything. But even then, they will keep dropping more enemies. So don't waste time and start running again. Now, this is where the most dangerous part of the plan comes to play. Once the timer hits 0, extraction will be automatically called and you'll have exactly, 2 minutes to reach the extraction zone. Stop collecting samples and head to safety, but not to exfil. If there's a horde tracking you, do not go to exfil. This is the biggest mistake that costed me a lot of samples. Because the last thing you'd want is a horde of enemies tracking you to exfil and calling in more enemies, essentially ruining your 15 minutes of progress. Because remember, after that 15-minute timer, there's no reinforcements, there's no stratagems, there's nothing. Stealth is your best friend after that 15-minute passes. Head in the direction of the exfil, wait for 2 minutes around the exfil, but don't get too close, and don't linger too long after Pelican lands. You can't delay and you can't come too early, because if you come too early, there will be enemies. If you come too late, well, you've lost everything. This method, although is a bit risky in the end, if you have a team of 3 or 2 even, this is way easier. If one person dies, the rest can collect their samples and head to exfil. And as long as one exfils with the samples are all shared. I've only lost about 1 out of 10 exfils, and this is because I brought the hordes of enemies to the exfil and I couldn't keep up with them.